This is the Triple Play Fantasy Basketball Show. Coach's Corner, we are back. I'm your host, Coach James Lewis. On the end, representing the West Coast, Fresno stand-up, Professor Kevin Coleman.
Hey, I like that. You should keep calling me that. Hey, I appreciate it coming back, Coach's Corner, so I can tell you why you were wrong at everything and why I am right. And we can talk about a little prospects. March Madness is coming.
Absolutely, yeah. Jalen Green looks a lot better than Cade Cunningham.
He
And
does.
Evan
Thank you
Mobley.
for agreeing. I appreciate it. Hey, I was on the Mobley train for a long time here, so don't be shooting me down there.
I guess we found our even ground when it came to Evan Mobley,
We did.
but I'm dying on the Cade Cunningham mountain, and that mountain is looking quite rich as of late. But that's old stuff. We're here to talk about who's going number one this year. We have some great prospects. Honestly, I wouldn't be upset if I had a top 4 or 5 pick in this year's draft. But
No.
you gotta make a decision. You can't choose everybody. You gotta decide who goes number one. And we're gonna start talking about Chet Holmgren to begin with.
Well, that's your guy, right, Chet? When you're looking at what Chet's been able to do this year, he's just someone he's just a unique prospect. Like when you're looking at how he plays, basically almost 7 feet. I mean, he's skinnier than shit. So that's what Coach is going to talk about here in a little bit. But his quickness, offensive side, like he's got so much. He's a good face-up scorer when you watch him. He can shoot the ball from deep. He's got good handles for his size. I don't know how well that translates over to the NBA side, but let's just say this. Chet's the type of guy that in today's NBA is going to be fine. 15 years ago, no. But that's not what we're talking about, right? So I think we got to get out of that. I like his accuracy from the three-point line. There's a lot of things I like about him. I know you like about him a little bit more. So what do you like about Chet?
Everything. He pops. The eye test. He's got wiggle. He can pull it in transition. He's a one-man break. It's his defense though that really stands out to me. He can guard guards on the perimeter. He's a blocking machine. He's a rim protector. He has versatility because of his smooth stroke. I think he can play in any lineup. You can run him at the 3,
Yeah.
in my opinion, and because of his versatility, being able to guard guards, he can fit in any lineup. I think that he has to grow. I mean, 194 is eye-poppingly light for a 7-footer that has a 7'6" wingspan. You need to work on that, but he's skinny tough. Like he can hold his own. All of the accolades pre Gonzaga are just staggering. Just winning 4 state championships. In the Olympics, he just went fresh off MVP. Heads up with Victor from France. He just shows potential. I would like him to increase his confidence offensively, because I don't think he's really gotten into his bag, relying on Drew Timme a little bit for Gonzaga. But I like everything that I've seen from him, and I think that he has the highest ceiling. I think that he could be the best player out of these prospects. But at the same time, with that weight, you definitely have some concerns here.
Yeah, I mean, when we watch his tape and we're watching kind of what he does, the thing that stand out about me, he's just different. Like that's different right there. Like just being able to kind of
Unicorn-esque.
he's a unicorn. So when you say ceiling, I agree. I think when you say ceiling, he has it. Like if he can do this consistently in the NBA, I think that you're really liking that about him as a prospect. I mean, I do think that he's got some wiggle too, and he does as a prospect too. He's got when just watching him as a coach and all those things, he knows the game very well. He knows the system very well. I don't know how many times I did that in their WAC conference, but this was against Duke, and this was that top showdown that we saw earlier in the season, and I thought he played pretty well in this game, all things considered. Now, Banchero definitely did body him up a little bit, and I think that's something to get a little bit worried about. It'll be interesting to see what he does in the tournament. It's like, can he do this? But again, he's a mismatch nightmare, and when you watch him play, his ability to kind of go on the block also, but also stretch, like you talked about, like who's going to guard him? I think that's the key. I do think in the NBA, obviously, they have the elite athleticism, and they're going to have that. But I like this kid. I like him. I make fun of Coach because he talked about him being Kevin Durant earlier, like last year. But I do like what he did this year, and he's going to lead 8. If he leads Gonzaga to a national title, he's going to go 1. I believe that. I believe in the tournament narrative stuff. I believe that stuff. But this kid's 7 foot and just pulled up right there. I have a couple comps for him, a couple just kids that I've seen. So I saw poor man's Dirk Nowitzki. I saw that one earlier,
He
and I
does have
saw
that fade where
yeah.
goes off one leg. I've seen that in his
And,
repertoire.
and what
It's
about
impressive.
Marcus Camby defensively? Do you like that
I
one?
Yeah, I like that a lot actually, and especially with his slight frame, and we just know how much of a terror Marcus Camby was defensively, and
Yeah.
that alone puts you in the league. And then you got you throw the handle in there and the ability to shoot the three. Now we're talking about an elite prospect.
Yeah, and I think he does that well. Like, and he seals guys well and stuff. Now he's playing in WCC, which isn't the greatest conference in the world, so we haven't really seen him play against top notch. I know they had a really tough non-conference schedule, and we saw him there. But if he can do that right there, just hit threes when he's open, kind of control well, he plays well, and he does these types of things that you like to see from him. And again, that's that skill based. So that skill base that you just saw right there is him just stopping, being able to do the floater in transition, those type of things that I like about him.
And as we transition, just look at the numbers here: 14 points a game, 10 rebounds, a couple dimes, and then the efficiency all around from field goal percentage to free throw line at 3 point is elite. And he's
Yeah.
blocking 3.6 shots a game. Just recently against San Francisco, he had 21 points, 15 boards, 6 blocks, and 3 steals. 9 stocks in that game.
You
Like
can't.
that just is a showcase of his talent. And
Yeah.
20, 16, 6 assists, 5 blocks against BYU. That just shows his potential.
And he seems like he has a high work ethic. Like when you're watching him and what he's been able to do is develop. And that's what you like to see from him. The weight thing's always going to be the issue, right? So, like, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, that's a very telling picture right there. Okay. Like when you
You're
look
looking
at
at a
it,
man and a boy.
yeah, but again, I mean, when you're talking about ceiling, I think he does. He gets into a weight room, but it's more than just he's going to put on weight because I think some guys just can't, right? So when we've seen this before, like it's not easy for guys just to put on weight. I think he'll put on muscle mass. I think he's going to have the ability to kind of hang in there, but I think that's something that's going to kind of be tough with him. But what fits him is the NBA is different now. Like we're not seeing Shaq backing down guys anymore. Like
That's
that's
why I
just
comped
not
him
what the NBA.
to Kevin a little bit because Kevin
Yeah,
is very slight in frame. I mean, in the combine, he couldn't even do the 225
yeah.
bench press, and he's found a way to be in the league and be efficient. And with the Warriors team, he was a force on the defensive end. Just kind of, I can see Chet kind of playing that role, like not guarding the big guy, but guarding somebody else on the wing,
Yeah.
and then being there for help defense, a la Evan Mobley.
Yeah, I mean, we're not going to disagree there. I just think I think that he's in this top three discussion, right? So I know we're going to make our pick later about who we think's going to go one, but he's there just because based on his ceiling. Some teams going to fall in love with that ceiling. But let's talk about my guy,
Yeah,
Paolo Banchero.
yeah, you got it.
I
You
got
got
it,
it,
baby.
Professor Kev.
That's right, Duke. My Duke baby guys here. I know they just got their ass kicked. We're recording this after the ACC championship, but 6'10", 250 kid. He's looked good this year. 17 points a game, 7 rebounds, 3 assists. I think his 3-point percentage is okay. He definitely shot poor towards the end of the year. Free throw percentage I think is good, 70% free throw percentage. I really like Paulo. I think that when you're
Do
looking
you
at what
believe
he's,
in a shot? Because I think I do too. You see the 3 point
yeah,
percentage is worrisome, but I mean it looks clean. It looks like he can really be a sniper from deep off the catch.
I feel like he needs a little bit better coaching. We talked about this already pre-show. I'm not a big Coach K believer. I believe that he just goes athletes and runs them out, and there wasn't really a lot of development there. This is why you see guys from Duke, Tatum, these other guys that develop so much more because they have the raw talent. They need to develop it when they get to the NBA. I think he does. I think he's got a great release. Like he's got a nice mid-range game. Like when you watch him play, like he does do that very well. And when you're looking at him, I think he can initiate the offense too. So at his size, being able to be an offense initiator, you like that about him, right? Natural strength. He's got that ability. So there's a lot of things that you like about him that I like about him. Now, is he in the top three discussion, Coach?
Yes, he is in the discussion, and I know he's a little bit in discussion. Maybe he falls back. I don't see him going outside the top 5 at
Look at
all.
that mid-range jumper, Coach. That
But
that
if
that
if
sets him
I'm
apart.
sitting there, and I have a top 3 pick, I'm definitely giving him a workout. I'm giving him a look because he is still in contention for that one pick. Isolation, you like the game, face up game. He's got the moves. Um, his decision making I scratch my head a little bit sometimes. Sometimes he pulls like deep twos, and But he has showcased that he can pass the ball. He had a couple games where he had a seven assists. Another game he had 9. Uh, I think if that part of his game develops, then we're talking about an elite prospect. I mean, he already is. I think he's going to come in and score the ball day one. I think you're looking at a rookie that has potential to average 20 points a game. Does that convert to winning style? We'll see. We'll see what happens in the tournament because potential wise, I don't think anybody stands a chance with Duke as far as just raw skills with Mark Williams, AJ Griffin. Like we're here to talk about Paolo, but they have the tools to go out there and win a championship. See if they can kind of put it together, and it's in his hands. He shoots the ball more than anybody else, and look, he's got moves. He's a good isolation player. He reminds me a little bit of Carmelo in the half court, and that's just. I mean, that's really great. The company. He reminds me. You're not gonna like this, but he reminds me of Kyle Kuzma too, with his size. And Kyle Kuzma, not a bad player. He's a good NBA player, but I don't know if that is quite Chet Holmgren-esque. What are you seeing on the tape here, Coach?
That was gross. Don't ever put Kyle Kuzma's name.
I knew you wouldn't like it.
Like, come on, Coach. No, I think when you watch him all year. So I watched him all year and I watched him play. Like the thing about him was, I mean, I know what you're talking about with his decision making, but I think part of that is like what I said with coaching. It's a lot of like, hey, ISO ball, go, and I think he's had to make things happen. So when you're looking at him, but he's got moves, and you saw it right there. Like I think that he's fine. I love him. As a Duke guy, it's hard. You know how it is with me. It's hard for me to get my Duke fandom out of like analysis with him sometimes because I do think that he was really good this year. He has room for improvement though. Like he's like you talked about. He's got to be better when we were looking at just decision making, his ability to make passes, like these type of things that you have to know. Like he's got to do better there. I like that he's strong there. I saw some comps for him recently. I saw Carlos Boozer plus. So kind of like a better offensive weapon than that. I people forget that Carlos Boozer used to be legit. Like he was a good NBA player and he was a good college player. And I also
comparing the light skinned guy that's 6'10".
Okay. No, I'm just saying
he moves a little bit better. But he looks huge, like especially in that matchup against Chet. He looks like an NBA player today. And I wouldn't say he's like the most explosive athlete, but he's an impressive athlete. The laterally, you would want him to move a little bit better, but I think he has defensive potential to hang. I wouldn't want him to get switched out on a guard, one of these elite NBA guards. Whereas, like I think Chet can hold his own a little bit better just because of his length. Honestly,
I think you hit it there with the defensive liability stuff. I think he's a perfect mold for like a power four-man with like advanced offensive skill. Like that's where his strength's going to be. Defensively, though, I think that's the question mark in terms of will he be able to hang with threes? If he gets switched on the threes or twos, can he hang there? And I think that's the question mark, especially with small ball. But I love what he has with him. So you're looking at his strength, his ability. I think he'll shoot better, mid-range game, those type of things.
Yeah. Well, if you pair him with a Chet Holmgren, that's like a dream scenario where, you got big guy, little guy, and their games complement. But the decision making we touched on, but he can pass. He does have that ability, and let's see if that develops. He seems like a very hard worker and a dynamite pick. If you're sitting there at 3 and maybe he's not there anymore, because our next candidate is just too good to pass up on. I call him Jay Smooth. I know that was a nickname for Josh Smith, but his body is like Josh Smith. He's like Josh Smith plus. Like imagine if Josh Smith could shoot. Yeah, that's this kid. To me, he's the best shooter in the draft. His shot is unblockable. He has a high, quick release. Off the catch, he does it off the dribble. He comes in transition, pulls it. He's got it, and he just keeps getting better game to game. So right now he is 6'10", 220. Who knows if he's done growing? But he is large, and he averaged 17 points, 7 rebounds, couple dimes, and his shooting percentages are off the chart. 43 from 3, 80 plus from the line. He's reliable. He's a guarantee once he walks up there, and he's giving you a steal and a block. So he laterally moves better than these other two. And so I think because of his guaranteed nature on both ends, he's almost swaying my decision. I've been Chet this whole time, but the more and more I watch him, the more and more I fall in love with his game. He's just a smooth killer, and he has it in the game. He sees the moment, and he really puts his stamp on the game on both ends.
He's someone that I've really grown to really like, especially from just his athleticism, right? I think he is one of the most, based on his size and where he's at, he's got to be the most athletic player in the draft. Like, I don't care what anybody else says. And I do think that I don't think he's even touched his ceiling on his offensive game. Do you?
No, his ball handling needs to improve a lot.
Yeah.
And I think once he gets some moves, then he's going to go to a whole nother level because he does rely on the catch and run with the ball, or catch and pull on you.
Yeah.
So if he gets some moves, a la what Jason Tatum has done in the NBA, he actually comp him a little bit to Tatum as that type of ability going forward. And that just is off the charts.
Yeah, my notes on him for scouting wise, can face up and drive. Like he can face up and drive, and he's a straight line drive. But then the moves are why we mentioned he's got to improve there. But if he does, now we're talking about a kid that can realistically like really do some things. And this is the stuff that you like to see from him. He's athletic. He can get to the basket. He had a great game against UConn. This game was one of the best games of college basketball this year. And
Sure was.
he played and he showed up and he kind of came out there. See right there, good moves, but straight line. Hey, he's going to get to the basket. He's a good athlete for his size too. He's got a quick burst. You'll see it here too. Like this spot up, that is NBA level. Like if he can do
it
this,
seems like his shot is unblockable because it's so high and so quick. It's like, how can you block that? Even yesterday, they lost in their conference tournament. They're down 6, and the ball's going to him. He's shooting a 3. He gets fouled on it. But it was just like perfect defense. It's like he just is unblockable.
Yeah. And he has a smooth release, right? Like when you watch him play, like he's got that smooth release as you come up. And I like what he does. And he's a good teammate too. Like he does the little things that you like to see. He's got that intangible style. He runs the floor very well. So that's the one thing that you're going to notice. He runs the floor well. I mean, he out of these 3 guys, I feel like he's the most NBA ready. Like I feel like he can do a lot of things. He's got a good ceiling. If he can catch and shoot like this, like out of the 3 guys, he's the best shooter, right? Would you say he's the best shooter or Chet?
I just said he's the best shooter in the draft to me.
Okay.
So, and what none of these prospects lack is IQ. They're all good IQ players, and they all have backgrounds. And of course, Jabari Smith Jr., his father played in the league. And when you have that growing up, he is man-made. And to your point about being a good teammate, towards the beginning of the year, he wasn't playing as much, and he wasn't over there pouting on the bench for not being in the game. He was just being, part of the team, being like a good teammate, as we mentioned. And his pairing with Walker Kessler is impressive. So like you can fit him in with a lot of different lineups. He's, to me, the safe pick of the 3, the safest.
Yeah.
I think he's just going to be a damn good player.
Yeah, I mean, you saw right there, especially with his 3-point as soon as, and he can do this. Like he's going to be able to finish in transition or in basically down low, and that's what you're going to want to see at the NBA level. Can he finish there? But again, I think that he had an amazing game, and against Kentucky he looked good. But again, that transition mid-range game, like he's going to translate extremely well to the NBA. I'm a big fan of his. Now, again, he's got some, like you said, some upside stuff that he's got to work on. But these guys are incredible. And I think that Jabari Smith's done the most for his stock out of everybody. Everybody was talking about Paolo and everybody was talking about Chet. No one was just talking about Jabari. And now we are. And now he's consensus kind of one. I mean, every mock draft I've seen, he's in the top 2, if not 1. And you like to see what he did at Auburn. And if he leads Auburn, who's never won a title, to a title, now we're really talking about his stock jumping up.
Yeah. So we always do this at the end of our videos. This time we had a matchup with 3 people because it wasn't as clear cut. But who you got? Who you going with? Who's your 1, 2, 3?
So yeah, this is gonna hurt. But Banchero's number 3 for me. I think that he is just
this whole time we've been talking about Chet and Paolo, and now
I know.
Now we got Paolo at 3. He's my 3 as well.
But I've watched him, and when you're looking at it, I don't know out of these 3 guys if he has that elite upside, right? So like, I think he's good, and I think he's going to be a very top 5, draft pick, and I think that he's going to be good. But when I'm looking at number 1, can he be a franchise changing player? And I think that's the question. These other two guys, I think, can be franchise changing. Can Banchero be that? I don't know yet. That's why I'm going to have him at 3. My number 2 is Chet. So I'm going to go Chet Holmgren at number 2. And for me, the reason why he doesn't go to 1 is because of his size, and I'm worried about that. And so I'm going to put Chet at 2 just because of that size and the concerns there. But again, we just talked about he's a unicorn. And then I'm going to have Jabari at 1. So I'm going to say Jabari right now is the 101 for NBA for draft circles and guys that I think is going to go there. What about you?
So I just because I've been on the Chet wagon the whole time, it's so hard to like let go of it. And my heart says Chet's number 1, but my mind tells me now that it's Jabari. So I can't. I want to see how this tournament plays out, but I kind of go back and forth in my mind. Like I said, I mentioned that I think Chet has the highest ceiling. I think Jabari just looks like the most game ready, and it's just so eye popping that it's almost undeniable. I would sprinkle in and say that Jaden Ivey kid is damn good too. I don't think he's outside of the conversations, and he could lead his Purdue team to cut down the nets as well. So we'll definitely talk about Jaden Ivey in a future video. But we're talking about people that might creep into that top 3 because of their potential. He is definitely a person that comes to mind for me.
Yeah, maybe. I think it's really like when you're looking at those guys, though. I don't see Ivy getting in this category. I think Jabari's there. I think Chet's there. I think Banchero could have a good one, like you said. But I'm personally worried about Duke losing the Sweet 16, like they always do. And I think they will. I'm going to be straight up. Like, so if he doesn't have a good tournament, that you and me both know we've been doing this long enough. We're old enough. Tournament narratives matter. Like how people do in the tournament really shapes draft stock, and it hasn't been like that the last couple of years just because of I think the pandemic definitely changed the mindset of it. But when these guys go, and you're right, maybe Jaden Ivey does with Purdue, goes to the championship game, they blow it up, they say, hey, look how good he is. And we could see that. But I think with Chet and Jabari, those two guys have a chance to win a national title at a school that needs a national title. Auburn and Gonzaga. If Chet's able to lead Gonzaga to a national title and Mark Few's first title, all that narratives, all that stuff, I think that we realistically can see him go 1. If Smith's able to do that for Pearl at Auburn, I think we could see him go 1.
Well, and that's why I think there's an outside chance with Ivy because
Maybe.
the Purdue team is damn good. And
Purdue always chokes, Coach. Purdue always chokes. Let's be real. I have some Purdue fans.
No.
They always choke. But if he doesn't, you're right. But they're going to choke for sure.
All right. So on the way out, we are a proud member of shout out everybody on the Triple Play Fantasy family, the channel. Go check us out. Subscribe, like, comment. Definitely comment on your opinions. It's not going to. Everyone is entitled to their own, and you tell me why we're crazy for not having Jaden Ivey number 1, or crazy that it's for sure Chet or Paolo or Jabari Smith is proven that he is bona fide number 1. Let us know.